Tinggal daun sih bibig mo kasayan jika basa kami tokat tek tagana.
Hi, this is Katie Kolker, Superintendent of Bishop Unified School District, here to share with you some myth versus facts about measures R and S. My goal is to give our community the most accurate information available about the measures on the upcoming November 5th election ballot. So myth versus fact, our first myth, Proposition 2 and measures R and S are the same thing, and so funding them would be redundant. In fact, Prop 2 and measures R and S are two separate funding streams. Prop 2 would fund the state bond, which would supply the funds for the matching grants from the state that locally we would receive if measures R and S pass. So what this really comes down to is a cash flow issue. Bishop Unified School District is eligible for up to $12.6 million in state funding if these measures pass, and we can show that we have $8.4 million available for our facility funding. If these do pass and Proposition 2 passes, then we will be reimbursed up to $12.6 million within a matter of a couple of years. If Proposition 2 doesn't pass, the state still owes us the money if we were to move forward. However, it becomes a cash flow issue on their end, and it might take closer to 4 or 5 years in order for the district to be reimbursed for those projects. Myth number 2, the full cost of the facility improvement projects would come solely from Bishop families and homeowners. So general obligation bonds are funded by property taxes, and so homeowners and landowners in our district would provide the funding for these measures. However, it's important to note that LADWP owns 45% of assessed value property in our district and therefore would contribute 45% of the funds that go towards the facility improvements. There's a funding formula available on the website if you want to look up how much assessed value your home is and what the subsequent costs would be to fund these measures. Myth number 3. Bishop Unified didn't spend all of the emergency relief or COVID funds it received from the pandemic. In fact, all of these funds have been used. There are still a couple that will expire in the next year or two, and they are categorical in nature. So for example, there were funds called Educator Effectiveness Funds, and we're able to use those that towards opportunities that benefit instruction and what teachers need to improve student learning. So those funds can't be used towards facilities. However, there were funds that could be used for facilities. And so we have a new modular building over at Bishop Elementary School. The reason we were able to pull that off is we used $1 million of COVID relief funds towards that building because it included a new health office, which improved the safety and well-being of our campus. And so we were able to use those pandemic funds in that way. If you're interested in how other funds for emergency relief were used, all of those plans are available publicly on our website, bishopschools.org. Myth number 4, specific facility improvement projects haven't been listed or prioritized. So if you're interested in seeing a project list for what's on these measures, again, visit our website. There's a Measures R and S tab, which summarizes the projects included in both measures. There's also a facility needs assessment that was completed last winter, and there's line items for every specific project across all 3 campuses and what the estimated cost would be. In your election ballot that was just mailed home a week or 2 ago, you can also see the multi-page expanded list of projects included in these measures. All right, and myth number 5, the district simply hasn't maintained school facilities. It's a testament to our maintenance crew that our facilities have been operable up to this point. Most buildings are 50, 70, up to 100 years old, and we haven't asked our community to invest in them in many generations. And so the high school main building having its original infrastructure from the early 1900s, many of the other buildings having original plumbing and electrical and HVAC systems that were around in the 50s and 70s, just aren't keeping up anymore. And so at some point, it is time to do an overhaul and have new equipment so that our maintenance crew can prioritize other projects across the district. Our final myth, just that accurate information about measures R and S is difficult to find. So I encourage you to visit our website. Around town, you might also see flyers with a QR code with a variety of slides included in there with details about the measures. My office is always available if anyone would like to reach out to me personally to have any questions answered. But most of this information is available right on our website, bishopschools.org. One final myth that might be around town is that the way that these measures are written, that it would exclude local contractors from bidding or performing the work needed for the projects. And this is absolutely untrue. We've always encouraged our local contractors to do the work and get these jobs done locally whenever possible. Again, I thank you for your time. Please reach out with any questions. I'm Katie Kolker, Superintendent of Bishop Unified School District.
All right. Well, I am actually going to be addressing multiple facts in a reference to this research done by Pew, addressing the falling test scores, increasing number of poor student behaviors, and the bullying in and out of school, I believe are kind of, and the mental health. Really, it all kind of stems from one root thing, if you really want to take it all at once. But one of the things that I know I didn't have to struggle with as much as a child going through the public school system as these kids do these days are the smartphones. I was happy to find in the news that we do have some new legislation put forth by our governor that he wants to see a reduction or a abolition of cell phones on campuses by 2026. I am absolutely in favor of coming forth with a policy for the 2025-26 school year, year ahead of schedule, of making sure that BUSD has policies that will align with those policies. In results, I think, of reducing the cell phone usage on campus, we'll see an improved atmosphere, improved community efforts amongst the students. I believe the bullying in and out of, at least in school, will at least be reduced with not having as much access to their phones, and also a higher concentration in educational hours and being able to raise those test scores. When we are able to focus our children's attention 100% as much as possible during the hours of school, they have a better outlook on how they feel about their educational efforts. When they're constantly distracted by this new thing, this shiny new thing, he said this, she said that, that's coming up on social media, it's a divided attention. And it's time to school, it's time to do school. And I'm running into that as a third grade teacher over at the co-op. So being able to have my first experience with the classroom students this year has been eye-opening. When we see also with the poor student behaviors, I think also just having a well-understood structured discipline system, not only for students, but also understood by teachers and administration, and know that that doesn't waver or falter in any given situation. If you meet the parameters that would happen, this is your set course of punishment. And then this is what we do afterwards. I think being able to have those clearly laid out and enforced is going to be one of those things that help pull us out of COVID, having those standards available and also keeping our children's focus with reduced screen time. So, thank you.
Okay, Jamie, you're next.
Okay, we were told to focus on one of the 5 questions. One, I wanted to address as a potential school board member and how I can positively change the general Price Pew research results and address the parental dissatisfaction and rebuild public trust in schools is the chronic absenteeism. As far as that topic goes, chronic absenteeism is considered a student that's gone for 18 days or more, or 10% of the school year. First of all, you have to find out who the kids are and where they are and why they're not coming to school. You need to, which shouldn't be a hard thing to do because it's a small school district and a smaller number of kids compared to like an LA County or something like that. You need to get in contact with them, their parents, or their guardians, and start to hold people accountable for kids not coming to school. We have to work together with all the members of the community and come up with a plan or a program and stay up to speed on these absences. In 2019, our school absenteeism was 13.1%. After the COVID state mandates, it's now over double that at a whopping 33.6% currently. There are also similar districts to us in all those categories that are doing much better. And we should not be afraid to reach out and ask them what they're doing that's working and maybe take on some of those policies too. I feel like this is one of the #1 problems that we're dealing with in our school system right now of many. But I feel like if we can fix this problem, it'll address the other problems too. Lower test scores. If you're not at school, you're missing out on tests and class time to get better scores on tests, which obviously would affect the graduation rate too. Right now, the graduation rate is at 85.9%, which is below the state average slightly and should be closer to 90%, like it was in 2019. I feel like with some changes in the leadership at the top, with some people that truly only care about the students' well-being and their education and have skin in the game, and some common sense approach policies, in a few years we can have it turned around. That's why I'm standing here tonight and asking for your vote. I thank everybody for coming, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jamie. Karen, you're up.
Sorry, I have this in here because I have a trimmer, and if I tried to hold it, it wouldn't be pretty. So, this way I can speak. So, how do I positively change the general Price Pew research results? Well, I can't. They are results of tens of thousands of school districts across California and the nation. I'm not running for a seat on the state school board or anything national. I care about Bishop Unified School District and its data. One person, especially one person on a 5-person board, cannot make a national difference alone. The board has to work as a team. We were encouraged to use Google to research the answers for these questions. But again, because it's Bishop that I care about, I did my research not with Google, but by talking to Bishop administrators, counselors, special ed teachers, classroom teachers, and parents. Schools worldwide are still experiencing the effects of COVID on their children's learning. And like all the other districts in California, our test scores are not quite back up to pre-pandemic levels. But to improve this, Bishop children who have lower scores receive extra help in the form of evidence-based math or reading intervention from specially trained teachers. Classroom teachers are also receiving professional development. Additionally, the district has achieved lower class sizes with a cap on K-5 classes at 24. And I will tell you, since I'm in the classes a lot of those classes are way lower than 24. Students from other schools and some other homeschooled children have actually transferred to Bishop schools because we have special ed resources that those schools do not. Now, even with here it goes. Thank you. Okay, thank you. My hero. Even with all those challenges, last year, Home Street Middle School was recognized as one of the California's distinguished schools for its high test scores in reading and math, just last year. And Bishop High School just had 4 of its students receive College Board national recognition for exceptional achievement on PSAT, AP exams, and overall GPAs. One of those students was an Indigenous girl. Another one was a first-generation child. I think that's amazing. Our Bishop School Band went to Washington, D.C. last spring and marched in the Memorial Day Parade there. Now, obviously, that doesn't affect test scores, but it's an experience that they will have with them for absolutely ever. Mental and behavioral health has been a priority, with support being expanded, adding 2 more behavioral aides and an additional counselor who does art-based counseling. Suicide prevention is taught annually in middle and high school to students and staff. And though not officially part of the mental health curriculum, since I'm sort of an arts person, I think that the addition of 2 classes of performing arts and expanded music classes will also contribute to improving our students' mental health. And I agree with the cell phone stuff, absolutely. A list of extra help for our students goes on and on, way too far for me to address here, but I think you can see that Bishop Unified School District is working hard to help our students in both academics and their socioeconomic growth and health. I'm proud of our district. I'm proud of how, even though we're small, we think big. We have wonderful support for our students with challenges and awesome enrichment activities for all students. I am actually in the classroom with children, and I see happy, eager learning going on. I see truly dedicated and caring teachers and staff working hard to keep those children feeling that way while they're improving their skills. In any business or entity, there will always be some people who are not thrilled, but many who are. The same is true for schools. With open communications and proof of success, like that I've mentioned, as well as the knowledge of all of our programs being implemented to help and enrich our students, I believe that satisfaction and trust should improve. Thank you. Teacher has to take notes.
Totally. Well, and in fact, we good? Yes, okay, good. And in fact, I did just write a couple of things down because I'm not quite sure how you 3 got a hold of my notes. But they did, right? And I guess what I want to highlight by that is that, you know, what I heard from the 3 candidates so far is a couple of specifics. There's legislation coming from the state telling us we need to have a policy in place to regulate cell phone use, right, and to limit cell phone use. Absolutely. The state's is mandating that. And like usual in Bishop schools, we're going to be ahead of the curve by putting this in place sooner than when they ask for it. Common sense cell phone regulations for our students so they can be used as a tool in the classroom but are not a distraction. Right? We want to make sure that our kids these days who are carrying one of the most powerful computers in the world in their pocket, don't always, especially for our high school kids, don't put those away when they can use it as a resource for learning, but have clear regulations so it's not a distraction. And absolutely what Jamie said, the focus on chronic absenteeism, absolutely, and this idea of partnering with like schools. I've spent so much time in the Bishop School District visiting other campuses with teams from our schools, teams of teachers, and we come back, and oftentimes what they say is, well, that school's not like ours. We're so remote, or they've got more resources. And what I want us to do is develop partnerships with other schools that don't focus on our difference, but instead capitalizes on their success to make their success our success as well. And then I kid you not, our list of successes, Karen and I, that we wanted to rattle off are so much the same. Right? We were asked to address 2 things, the research and those 5 deficits, choosing one, and then also our public trust and rebuilding that. So I want to address both of those. In terms of those 5 areas, I'm not going to choose just one, but I'm going to highlight all of those. And the fact that we are seeing improving test scores. If we look at what's happening at the elementary grades, since COVID, we're seeing continued improvement, especially at those early grade levels. And if we can get those youngsters, those little ones, on track at grade level, reading and math by the 3rd grade, the success we're going to see at the higher grade level is going to grow exponentially. We're keeping class sizes down, and thanks to our superintendent who's making creative, inspired choices about how to allocate our funding, we're not just seeing class sizes staying down next year. We're going to see a legacy of that for years. How can we continue funding things the way they are so class sizes can stay small? Since COVID, we've seen the largest growth in mental health services on our campuses than we ever have had on Bishop School. And it's not just on-campus counselors, but it's partnering with external organizations. If we look at our clubs at the elementary school and the middle school and the high school, there is something for every student on campus. If you play video games, if you play chess, if you ride mountain bikes, if you like to fish, there's almost something for every student to be involved in. So while of course we want to be focused on them excelling academically, we know that so many kids are coming to school for those other activities, for the things they get to do because they're in school, playing in sports, being in clubs with their friend. And we've seen a continued growth over that since we came back from COVID. We keep investing in our teachers, in training, getting trained in trauma-informed teaching practices. We heard mentioned suicide prevention training, crisis management training. We need to keep investing in teachers and keep doing that work. Many of you might know this already. Thank you to Chief Durr and the Bishop Police Department. We just finalized a partnership with them, and we have a full-time school resource officer coming back on campus. I think he started last week, I think, or maybe starting this week. And again, through creative partnerships and funding, we're going to continue that for the long term. It's not just a one and done. If we look at our after-school programs, we've got the Rams Club. We've got Bishop After School Program. We've got partnerships with our Eastside Student Center that are going to higher grade levels for after-school programs for our kids. So the kind of supports that we're creating, the types of things that are happening in our classrooms, when I cross over those successes to how do we build public trust, I think we need to do a better job at telling our story. Right? Because if y'all don't know about those things that are happening, I could see how you'd be really worried about what's going on. Because every single person in this room is worried about our kids' well-being. So what we need to do is make sure that we're opening the doors of our boardroom, that we're getting the publications out so you can know about those successes. You can partner with us in building more of those, because as I said in my introduction, this is not work we do by ourselves. As a board, we set the vision. We're responsible for the financial management of the district, and we appoint the superintendent, but our successes are things that we make as a community, as parents and educators together. Thanks so much for your time.
Hello, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association, and coming up October 25th through the 27th, 2024, here in Bishop at the Cerro Community College will be the 9th annual Eastern Sierra History Conference. This conference spends 2 days, Friday and Saturday, with a number of speakers talking about a variety of historical events that have taken place in the Owens Valley. On Sunday, October 27th, is a couple tours. The first tour is to do the tungsten mine up in Pine Creek. The second is that we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the water decision with regard to Mono Lake, as well as the Mono Lake Basin Scenic Area being designated under the U.S. Forest Service. There will be a tour at the Mono Lake with at least 2 of the 3 people who were actively involved in that at the very beginning. Again, the 9th Annual History Conference will be October 25th through the 27th, 2024. If you want more information, go to sierraforever.org, click on Events, and click Eastern Sierra History Conference. Again, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association. Educate, inspire, explore.
You've seen it, haven't you? The smiling face.
We have to stop it! No matter what! I've been waiting for you.
Smile too.